Hi, did somebody just join the call?
Yes, hi, it's Rob Drinkwater with the Canadian Press in Edmonton. Sorry, I'm late.
Canadian Press. Kate, when I say your name, you'll have a question and a follow-up.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Constable Rob Carver, Public Information Officer with the Winnipeg Police Service. Just one matter to talk about. Yesterday evening at about 9:10 p.m., Winnipeg Police were advised of a motor vehicle collision near Broadway and Memorial Boulevard. The initial information was that a westbound Jeep Patriot had driven through a group of protesters that were part of the Freedom Convoy at the Legislative grounds. The Jeep then fled west, ultimately going down Portage Avenue, where numerous witnesses reported it traveling at high rates of speed and passing through red lights. With the assistance of the RCMP, Winnipeg Police Service officers were able to stop the vehicle in the 4800 block of Portage Avenue at approximately 10:30. The lone male driver was arrested after a brief struggle. The Jeep struck 4 adult males in total. 3 sustained minor injuries that did not require medical attention, and that's actually not quite accurate. They were treated at the scene by Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service, and the 4th was treated in hospital and released. As a result, a 42-year-old male from Headingley, Manitoba faces charges of assault with a weapon ×4, dangerous operation of a conveyance caused bodily harm ×2, dangerous operation of a conveyance, failed to stop after accident knowing that the driving was reckless ×2, and failed to stop at the scene of an accident ×2. And he is currently in custody. We haven't named the individual yet because charges haven't been formally sworn to, and we are obligated to not release a name until that process is complete. I guess I'll take questions.
Jen from Bloomberg News.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, I had a really difficult time hearing the audio. I'm not sure I'm alone in that, but anyway, thanks for taking my question. I'm just wondering if you could comment on the motivation of the driver in the Jeep.
Yeah, it's always really difficult, and I'm asked this question often, to attribute a particular motivation to someone's actions. What I can tell you here is that some comments were made by the accused that tends to suggest that this was not specifically about the mandates. I don't have a lot more information, but I think that might be important for the media and the public to understand. Now, whether or not we can sort of rely on those comments is another question. And the individual was taken into custody with some resistance, so this was not someone who was compliant, and the comments were blurted out. But as I will repeat, it looks like the actions were not really as a result of the mandates.
Like it's, okay, thank you. And I guess what, I don't want to use this technology. I guess what can you say about the tensions or the overall mood at this protest and police expect more violence?
We don't. I mean, we're prepared. We're always prepared for the potential of violence in situations like this. We have officers at the scene, and we will continue to maintain WPS presence at the scene until this is over. We have been in constant touch with the organizers on scene. We are not making any changes per se in terms of our stance. I know that as of this morning, protesters on scene have moved some trucks, and that Broadway is now down to 1 lane in either direction. I think giving people in the area some more security, limiting traffic flow, and we've put out on Twitter that we're asking people to, if you don't have to be in the area with a vehicle, then don't. There's a lot of stuff going on. And if you are part of it, or you have to be in the area, then expect some delays traveling in that area. But other than that, we're not, this was really a one-off, I believe.
Abigail from Global.
Hi there. Sorry, I can't really hear you that well. I'm just wondering if there's any thought or reasoning behind not just completely closing off the street so there's no issue of traffic getting involved in situations like this.
That's a really tough decision to make. First of all, there are people who want to be part of this protest and are coming to the area for that reason, and we need to facilitate their ability to peacefully protest. We also need to make sure that people can get in and out of that area and the general downtown area for either regular commutes or emergency needs. And there are people who want to come by and give support, or media are trying to get in. So we're trying to balance those needs with making it safe, but still allowing some vehicular traffic. This is an important area of Winnipeg, and while it is the weekend, it becomes heavy traffic flow during Monday to Friday during commutes. We're trying to balance all of those needs, not only people who live in the city, but people who are trying to express their views and protest in the area.
And I'm not sure if this is too close to the motivation question, but I'm wondering if this person had planned on coming and hitting a person, or is it spur of the moment? Is it too soon to answer that?
It is too soon. We don't have that answer. And in investigations like this, I mean, unless he chooses to divulge that, we may never get an answer to that.
Jill from CBC.
Hi there. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit further on this. When you say it's not believed to be about the mandates, is it believed that the accused was participating in the protest?
No, absolutely not. No, the accused was not participating in the protest. But some comments he made after his arrest suggested that his motivation was not specifically about the underlying causes of the protest or the mandates. That's about as far as I can get. I know it's a bit obscure, but I'm really limited in terms of, we don't really go into individuals' motivation. I think it's important here to give some context that he wasn't really for or against either of the general views that are sort of floating around this country. Other than that, I can't give you a lot.
Have police encountered any other violence or incidents similar in nature directed at or involving protesters?
We have not, and I can tell you that we are in very regular contact with protesters and the organizers, and everyone is being incredibly cooperative, and we've had no issues other than this particular one. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt, but nothing other than this. It has been quite well managed, and we'd like to thank everybody involved for their continued cooperation. It has really made the police job much easier and made it easier on the citizens of Winnipeg.
Glenn from Sun.
Rob, can you speak to whether has there been any kind of effort made to, much like a construction zone, to set up something to slow the traffic down, or has that been considered by the police?
We haven't made any changes to how we were deployed in the area since the start of this protest on Friday morning. We view it as an evolving situation like any protest. We will continue to not only monitor it, but work with organizers. And I want to stress that we are working with organizers. As I said earlier, some trucks were repositioned mid-morning today to enhance what organizers felt was the safety of people in the area. If we see a situation arise or events arise that we need to work with them to do further enhancements, we will certainly do that, and we are prepared, but that hasn't taken place.
I know there's a video that's been posted on Twitter Have your officers had a chance to view the video yet, and are you asking for any additional, anyone with dashboard cam or any kind of video as well?
No, our officers had access to that video as well as other digital information fairly soon after the incident. Our investigation is complete. The individual is in custody. We're really not looking for any further information. People who were at the scene were very helpful, both dash cam and cell phone videos, and we'd like to thank everybody who came forward at the time. Again, we're just thankful that no one sustained any serious or life-altering injuries, but we're not going to need any more assistance now. It's concluded.
Devin from CTV.
I was wondering, is there any concerns with seeing something like this happen again in the near future, or even the flip side of having some not friendly interactions from the protester side of things?
Well, I think police everywhere, and specifically in Winnipeg, view these situations as potentially volatile. There are strong opinions being expressed, and there are a broad range. There's polarization here. Anytime you have a situation like that, there's a potential for tempers to flare and possibly some violence. We have done everything we can, or are prepared to do at this point, to ensure the safety of people in the area. Again, we're working with organizers, and collaboratively we feel that the current situation is balancing everyone's needs and safety.
Do you have a follow-up, Devin?
Yeah, I was just wondering whether it was motivated by the protest or was just spur of the moment incident. Is there a look at increasing the police presence in the area at all?
Certainly, the potential is there to do that, but as I've spoken to, we are working collaboratively with people on scene and organizers. If additional police resources were required to enhance the safety, we'd certainly be looking at that. That's not the consensus at this point.
Maggie from the Free Press.
So I'm wondering if you know how fast the car was traveling when it hit these individuals.
I'm not going to speak to it, but the video is all over social media. You can take a look for yourself. It was moving at a fairly decent clip, and it's pretty miraculous that nobody sustained any serious injuries. I've seen the video. I haven't spoken to traffic collision investigators to have their assessment of the speed. They're able to do that probably from the video, but it's moving at a pretty decent clip.
And since these protesters arrived on the scene yesterday, do you have an estimate of how many people have been participating since?
It's been somewhat fluid. My understanding last night there was somewhere around 100 people on scene. Some estimates of, I think, if I'm correct, about 40 to 50 vehicles. That was increasing this morning, as we would expect during daylight hours. More people coming into the area, some more vehicles. Again, I would like to say that everyone has been very peaceful, very cooperative with us, very prepared to engage in dialogue with our officers. I don't know, looking at some news feeds from across the country, it's Winnipeg, and it's lots of blowing snow, and it's pretty chilly out there still. I think that affects people's inclination to come out and stay outside, but we'll have to see.
Liza from Radio Canada.
Yeah, the question would be, you say you're working with the organizer. For those that are staying around the village, do you know if protesters are planning to leave anytime soon?
We haven't been given any indication when the protesters are planning to leave or if they're planning to leave. The current situation from our standpoint is quite stable, and that's not first and foremost on our mind. Unlike some other cities, this is, everyone is cooperating well, and we're not looking at some sort of end as how we can, or an end date as to when things will wrap up. We just want to make sure everyone is safe while it's ongoing. And other than this incident, which we believe is a one-off, we hope to be able to continue with the level of safety we've seen.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so you're not planning to increase the security around the village or the area?
Well, we have no plans to change our deployment model at this point, other than last night. And I think anytime you've got people on streets and vehicles, there is a potential. We can't block off roads in the downtown area to make sure that people who are walking to and from this area are safe. Protesters understand, and I think if you see the video, are cognizant of the fact that they're on roadways, that even if we blocked off, even if Broadway was blocked off, there are cross streets that have the potential for, vehicular pedestrian interactions. We don't see that any changes to our model would enhance anyone's safety.
Rob from Canadian Press. Up there. Does anyone else have any further questions?
Well, if that's it.
Here from CTV, I was just wondering, do we know if this person had committed a crime earlier in the day and was fleeing, or do they have any criminal history at all?
As far as I'm aware, the person had no previous police involvement, and this was not related to any other criminal offense. Nope.
Rob, can you say if this incident was believed to be targeted or intentional against the protesters?
It does appear that way, yes. We know that at least one of the victims was wearing a high-vis vest. If you watch the video on social media, you can see that vehicles are moving through the area at a safe pace. Protesters are aware of the vehicles. They're facilitating the passing of the vehicles, and this vehicle is on Broadway, westbound, and appears to accelerate from the pedestrian crosswalk just east of there. I can't speculate other than what I've seen in the video and what investigators have told me, but it certainly does look like there was some intention here.
I know you mentioned that there have been no other incidents, but I spoke with a woman this morning who said she was harassed by an anti-vaxxer outside near the protest yesterday afternoon. Are you aware of that incident? Have there been any reports?
So I'm not, but as I said earlier, this is an extremely polarizing situation. There are very divergent views, not only here, but across the country, beyond that. And I'm not sure what the definition of harassment is, but people with strongly held beliefs get pretty passionate about those beliefs. And those sorts of interactions really don't become police matters unless they become criminal. So if you're on one side of the fence or the other, I mean, everybody needs to be reminded, except they've been doing this well, these are strongly held and impassioned views, and they're going to be expressed with a lot of passion. So I'm not sure what the definition of harassment is, but that's the nature of this political discourse.
Rob, Glenn Dawkins from The Sun. Anyone driving through the area, would you have any words of advice for them if they're being held up by the protest, or if they're getting a little hot under the collar? What would your words to them be?
Well, Glenn, we put out on Twitter today a reminder that, really, if you don't need to be in that area, then pick another route to travel through. You know, we've got a number of protesters and vehicles slowing traffic. If you don't need to take that route, then find a different route. If you have to take the route, or you're in the area because of your beliefs, then be prepared to be delayed. And there's no sense getting short-tempered about it. Traffic will be delayed. And if it's ongoing past the weekend and into a Monday morning commute, there will continue to be delays. I'd like to stress that delays are something that anybody in an urban center has been used to over the last decade in terms of political concerns, and I'd like to make sure that everyone understands that a delay is a small inconvenience. We haven't shut down parts of downtown. We haven't limited traffic. We haven't eliminated traffic flow. And again, I'd like to thank everybody involved for their cooperation. Delays are going to be expected, and patience are going to be required.
Anything further from any reporter?
Thank you. Thank you very much.